Insights with Terri Coots, a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Coots. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Thank you so much for joining me and offering your time to me, something you can never get back. It's such a gift, and I'm so very, very grateful. We are going to be talking about July the 9th through the 16th, 2023. We've had a lot of things going on with the planets, so many opportunities. It's just, where do you start? We're still in Cancer. Cancer energy is also still in Mercury, which is how we think, how we communicate. So we have the two. We have it in the sun sign and we have it in Mercury. So that's a double whammy, not bad. It's intuitive, it's psychic, it's very, very compassionate. It's the kind of an energy field that, I swear, if we all felt this all the time, there would be no wars, there would be no hungry people, because we care. Now, some people can push back and deaden that quality of compassion and caring, but we can also get into it. I've noticed it myself, watching movies. There's been a couple of movies that, even the rerun, I cried. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the dog was going to get killed, but I cried when the people were sad and for what they felt, because I know what it feels like. So that energy is supposed to make us compassionate, to mirror what the other person is feeling, so that we can understand it and not necessarily feed into it. That wouldn't be healthy, but understand it and work with it and be a person that takes a step back and lets the other person work through something. So that love, home kind of energy, great for the garden, great for fooling around the house, doing little odd jobs around the house, and just enjoying people coming to your home, maybe offering them a nice little cookie and a nice warm cup of coffee that you just ground the beans and made it more palatable, special for them. That's something that we'd really enjoy, getting that fancy bowl out to put the peanuts in. You can see how fancy I am. All of that is there for the taking. Now, on the 12th of July, that Cancer energy in Mercury changes to Leo, and Leo is a fire sign. That can cause some issues with some of us, especially the sensitive people, because when we change from a water sign to a fire sign, any change is usually it can tip the scales. But with this particularly, fire can scorch earth, but earth will never be vanquished by fire. So it endures. So we will have a little bit of upheaval while we move from water to fire. But that earth sign is going to be in Mars, so that's going to help us work with that. I'll explain a little bit more of that later. So that fire coming off of water, too much fire, water boils off. Not enough fire, but water puts fire out. Balance, it's steam, that's powerful. So if we balance it and try to work with it instead of in spite of it, I think there's some advantages to that as well. And it's in Mercury, how we think. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and attraction, is in Leo, and that's that fire sign. And a fire sign isn't always the safest in love. So just be careful that you're not impulsive, or that you don't do things that maybe aren't in your long-term best interest, because fire is impulsive and Leo does like to shine. So those pretty words that are spoken to each other will feel so good, but it's just pretty words. Is there substance to it? So we just have to look at that. That's all. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying look at it and be honest with yourself. And then Mars, the planet of passion and drive, that's a fire sign, is in Leo, which is a fire sign. So we have fire in Mars, we have fire in Venus, and in Mercury, how we think, that will be turning to fire on the 12th. That's a lot of fire. So, you know what? Use it. If you've got gas in the gas tank, use it. So this would let us do things like, for instance, a client had called and said, I'm stuck in traffic and construction. I'm going to be about 20 minutes late. And I thought, okay, I don't want to waste 20 minutes. So I just grabbed the weed whacker. And I just, weed whacked for 15 of those 20 minutes. And I got a lot done. It was impulsive. I didn't sit and say, okay, I better weed whack. I better get the, the wire there and get the battery all charged. I just did it. Just impulse, just jump in. And it gave me a start for the next project after my clients left. So impulse can be good. Just depends on how and where you point it. Just look at that. That's all. And as I was talking to you, Mars is moving to Virgo on the 11th from Leo of this week. And as I was talking to you about earth signs, and Virgo is an earth sign, and Leo is a fire sign. And as I said, earth can be scorched by fire, but it endures. So like a forest fire can't kill earth. It can hurt it. It can ruin its day, but there's always regeneration. So that's what this is. Being able to regenerate in the face of hardships, being able to regenerate in the face of maybe feeling hopeless, being able to endure, to keep the long race going, not the short race. Then the beginning of the week, we're looking at possibly the vulnerable parts of our body would be our neck, our vocal cords, the throat, the thyroid, our lungs. And that doesn't ring untrue when you think about all the forest smoke we've had in the last little bit. You can hear my voice, excuse me, isn't at its peak. Those vocal cords and lungs have suffered a bit. So we have the stress there, but we've also got the stress of where the moon is, which is in Taurus. And the moon usually is the medical dictator of what our body parts are going to be vulnerable with. So that's where we spend a lot of the time this week. Then towards the middle of the week, towards the ender, oh my goodness, the end of the week, we're looking at migrating to the shoulders. So if you have bad shoulders, you may be in trouble in the week. The forearms, the hands, and again, double whammy, bronchial tubes, and the lungs. So take particular care of the lungs. Now, concern. COVID, I'm hearing, this is gossip, this is not substantiated, it's just what I'm hearing on the physical plane. COVID is acting up a bit. I'm hoping not for a tridemic here, but it is acting up. So if you need to put a mask on, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to look silly. I went into Costco 2 days ago, and I noticed about 1/3 of the people are wearing masks, which really raised my eyebrows. And I thought, gee, I wear a mask, but almost nobody else was. But this time, about 1/3 of the people, I thought, what do they know that I don't know? And then a friend of mine who has some affiliation with the hospital said that they're doing some wrestling right now. So just use a little bit more caution, especially when the lungs and the thyroid are at risk, as well as the bronchial tubes. So just keep an eye on that, okay, kids? Just don't want you to get sick. And the number 5 is the number that's been given to us, and that is movement. Number 5 usually needs movement and change, and maybe more attracted to travel. Now, when you pair that up with the Leo part of everything, that's adventure. That's what it sounds like to me. The search for freedom, the search for adventure. So go and do some hobby that you don't normally do. Take advantage of that. Try a new food. So just change it up. It'll feel good to do that. And when you go with the flow instead of against the flow, it's always much better. And number 5 can be ambitious, sensitive, especially when you add that number 5 with all that Cancer energy. There's a lot of sensitivity. But try, if you can, to avoid routine. I think routine is wonderful. I like it. I like to know I'm going to have my coffee in the morning as soon as my feet hit the ground. That's my ritual. But this is the time possibly to be open to new things, to look at new ideas. There is an inclination for leadership. So if there's somebody that isn't taking the lead or managing things, maybe somebody will step in. That's pretty good too. It is an ambitious energy when you pair it with Leo. Number 5 and Leo together can be very ambitious. Sensitive, yes. But boredom is not going to be fun here, so avoid that. The weakness of number fives is asking us to be careful not to succumb to sudden ideas. That can create instability. There is an inclination to nervousness and restlessness, and I am seeing that in the dogs. Not all of my dogs, but the ones that are inclined to be a little bit more restless, pacey, can't settle down, I'm really finding it kick up. So I'm just trying to help them self-soothe and be a little bit quieter. So I'm trying to do games with them that are a little less stimulating, a little more grounding. And that's working a little bit better. So we should try to keep our balance if we can. Emotional, professional, financial, if you can. That's how you're supposed to put your energy. Restrictions are not going to be appreciated, especially with the Leo energy. And then you combine it with the 5. No, restrictions aren't fun. So watch where you put yourself. If you're in an energy field that you feel restricted, you're not going to feel good about it. I did pull a couple of cards. And one of the energy fields is asking us this week especially to pay close attention to our signals. I think the universe is feeling that some of us are getting so busy, so fast, not paying attention to things, that we are possibly missing the signals. In the old days, we'd call them omens. There was an omen that this was going to happen. I call it signals. The silver maple is a good example. The other day there was a storm coming, but my telephone weather app said, no, we're good. But you know what? Those maples, when they turn their silver side up, there's always going to be, always. I've never seen it fail. It's always a storm. And I'm looking at the maple trees turn leaves upside down, and I'm listening to the radio thinking, yeah, I think humans are wrong. The tree probably knows. And the tree did. Big storm came out of nowhere. Thank heavens I trusted the maples and had the window shut. Put the ducks away. So it was a good one. It was only just a little tiny time. Wasn't long. But nature knew. So that was a signal. I could have ignored it and had a soaked floor, soaked curtains. The couch would have been all wet. But I was very fortunate to see the signals and to look at it. Another signal. I heard the sparrows just going crazy. Chirp, chirp, chirp. They were furious. Now, what is wrong with them? I had a client. I said, would you excuse me for a minute? I just have to see because this isn't natural. And I looked out and there was a hawk right in the tree next to my kitchen, surveying my ducklings to find out which one I was going to pick for lunch. That did not make me happy. So I went out there with my cattle dog and I said to my cattle dog, should you do something about this? And off he went. Now, he can't catch a hawk, but he did make him go. And then the hawk realized, I'm sure, that this is not a safe place for hawks to kill ducks. There's other places that might be safer for them. The signal. The signal was the birds chirping in a way that they don't normally do. Now, I could have just sat there and ignored it, and I would have had a dead couple of ducklings. But I didn't. I'm listening to the signals, and you listen to the signals too. If you get a signal, listen to it. It is always so much better. And then love. The love card came up. Actually, it isn't the love card as much as it is the romance card. So if you're in the mood for romance, maybe kicking it up with your partner that you have already, exploring another partner, that's what this is all about. That's what this is trying to say. Put some romance in your life, even if you live alone. I romanticized myself last night by getting my pajamas on, came in the house before I needed to, had all the dogs, they were all exercised, they were all fed, they were all ready to lay down, and we all watched a movie together. And they were spread all over. And that felt like, I can't even explain it. Everybody was safe. I can't explain how good that felt. I was so feeling blessed. So I was romantic when it came to my life. I thought, this is wonderful. I have such a good life. And so look at those things and enjoy them and be conscious of them and expand them if you can. I'd watch 2 episodes. How do you like that for being racy? And they're saying, be careful. We may not take enough time this week to be still, to enjoy that quiet moment. So the next card is saying you're going to have to fight for your boundaries. You may have to fight for your quiet time. The time that we get our good ideas. The quiet time is the time we get our good ideas. If I need to do a project, oftentimes I'll just sit with a cup of coffee at first on the porch, listen to the willow tree and the air going through it and the birds all around, and I'll try to visualize the project and see if I can picture a better way to do it, or maybe I'm going to be doing it perfectly and it just supports or validates what I already know. So that's what we've got this week, kids. Maximize all of that. That's some pretty good stuff. Now, I would like to thank Charlie O'Brien for doing such a great job on the website and putting us on all those platforms, which is Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon, SoundCloud, YouTube. I will give you the link as soon as Charlie does. I'll do that on Facebook. As well, he's got a few of the episodes archived on my website, www.terriworld.com. If you've missed any, you can go back or even if you just want to go back and check for accuracy, you're welcome to do that as well. If you would like a reading for yourself, you can text or call 519-726-6699, or you can email me at terri.coutts@gmail.com. And if you've got any digital photography, website needs, get a hold of Charlie O'Brien. He's a wonderful resource for that. And that radio show that I talked about last week, there's been a bump in the road. It was supposed to start on Sunday, coming up for me at the time I'm broadcasting this, on the 9th at 6 to 8 o'clock. But there was a bump with the radio station. It's not mine to share. So it's been postponed, they think, for a week. And that will be on CKBG 107.9, The Berg. And that will be between 6 and 8. And when I get the call-in number, I will give it to you, because I don't know when it is. And I'll do your readings over the radio for you. And call in with whatever subjects you want to talk about, kind of like coast to coast. But it's put off until possibly next week, maybe the week after, depending on whether they can smooth this out or not. Alrighty. So again, give me a shout if you want a reading for yourself. I'd be happy to do that and personalize it for you. You have a wonderful week, everybody. Thanks for sharing your time with me. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.